Hello, welcome to Firearms of America, and today in this week of Columbia stuff, we have another pair of Columbia boots to review. And this is Columbia Granite Ridge waterproof boot. Alright, let's get straight into it. So if you don't have time to watch the whole 10 minutes, 15 minutes of the review, let me tell you guys, I do like these boots a lot for the price. Currently only $65 on Amazon. The link is in the description below if you want to check it out. For $65, yes, you do get a lot. They are fairly lightweight. They are comfortable, waterproof, like I said, and they run true to the size. So if you're looking at them, get them. Now, some of you already know we are doing this review specifically for my Ultimate Survival boot section. And whenever it comes to Ultimate Survival, there is actually one thing that I am not very happy whenever it comes to this boot. Unfortunately. But you'll find out later in the review what it is. So, let's start our review. And the very first criterion that we make our judgments by, of course, is the comfort level. So, in order to test the comfort level, what I do is I do a 3-mile run and then a 5-mile walk without taking off these boots. And the total wear time is about 7 to 8 hours. So, overall, they are very comfortable. Definitely, one of the factors that impacts that comfort level is the weight. And we're gonna actually find out exactly how much they weigh. So let's see. So this is size 10. And size 10, 14.5 ounce. I think that is pretty fantastic because whenever you look visually, these boots, they definitely do look pretty bulky, you know, with this protection here, with this extra rubber here, with this massive outsole. They do look very bulky, but 14.5, I think it's actually pretty good weight. So that's one of the things. The next factor that contributes to that comfort level is the flexibility of the bottom sole, and it is fairly flexible, so you can run properly without putting too much stress on your ankles, without putting too much stress on your knees. Now, whenever it comes to the inner sole, there isn't really anything special, and I can take it out. Let's see if I can take out the insole to show you the shape of it. There we go. And like I said, there isn't really anything special to it. It's just really just basic foam that goes throughout here. There is a little bit of support on the side, so it's shaped nicely. The toe box is fairly wide, but there isn't really much to it. So I kind of wish that Columbia implemented a little bit more of that jelliness to that inner sole. Of course, you can replace it with whatever you want, to your preference, to your specifications. But you know, I wish there was a little bit more. So on the comfort level, I can give these boots a solid 8 out of 10. Now let's move on to the proofing and protection. Like I said, whenever it comes to proofing, these boots are waterproof. So yay, pretty good. For hiking boots, you definitely want probably something waterproof, unless you are intentionally planning to get your feet wet. In that case, you know, you want something that dries faster, that has like a draining system or something. Okay, speaking of the protection whenever it comes to these boots, like I said, there is a little bit of extra heavier material here on the toe. Gives you a little bit. The top, of course, is very soft, so it's not going to protect you from impact. Keep that in mind. Because these are more shoes than boots, there isn't really any shaft. There isn't any protection to the ankles. Keep that in mind as well. And the heel, the same rubber that is on the front on the toe, you have that. Now the bottom sole is a fairly hard rubber. I'm going to put asterisks over there because we're going to talk about the outsole later, and there is some stuff that I want to follow up on. So it will keep you from some penetration if you step on a sharp rock. Alright, let's move on to the criteria number 3, quality and the design features. Now, whenever it comes to Columbia, never had the problems with quality. In fact, my number one choice for my Ultimate Survival boots, my personal choice, is from Columbia. Yes, the Newton Ridge. I did the review. Check them out. Pretty good stuff. So never any problems with Columbia whenever it comes to quality. In fact, these boots currently have 330 reviews on Amazon and 4 stars, a solid 4 stars review. So the reviews are pretty good. People do like these boots. Okay, let's talk about the criteria number 4, the outsole traction and stability. And this is where there are a few issues. First of all, whenever it comes to survival situations, stealth is something you want to consider. Well, because of the rubber that is utilized on this outsole, these boots are not exactly stealthy, as you can hear. Yes, they are fairly loud, so keep that in mind. I thought it was really important to point out because this review, after all, is for Ultimate Survival Boot. Another negative factor that I wanted to mention here in the outsole is, because I do like the aggression, I do like the flatness, I think it's pretty good. It performed well on a variety of surfaces. But here's the thing. These middle grooves in particular, because they're fairly long, as you can see, and the rubber, I think, in my personal opinion, is not tough enough, as you can see, they are very bendable. And that is not good. Personally, I do not like that. Now, some people do like that because it gives them a little bit of extra dig in whenever they are, on the surface or whatever. Even this grooves. But to me, I think they're too thin and too bendable. What the problem that I see with this is whenever you're running and you're stopping too quickly, it creates a little bit of that overslide because the grooves are so bendable. And that can throw you off balance. I think that is definitely a negative side of this outsole. But at the same time, I think this outsole, the design is pretty good. Whenever it comes to flatness and aggression, it did perform well on a variety of different surfaces. I tested them on new tarmac, on old asphalt, tested them on the sand, on the wet sand, on dry sand, on the wet grass, dry grass. I tested them on the rocky road, and I tested them on a few flat surfaces like tile and marble. They perform well on most of them. Now on the wet sand, they were digging in a little bit too much, and the sand was getting stuck because the grooves, there is a lot of aggression and there is pretty deep, the grooves. So that's not good. It creates extra weight, adds weight to the boot obviously, because now you have sand that you're dragging with you. And also, of course, it makes the surface flatter, which again kind of makes them more slippery. So for the Columbia, the advice that I would give for the Columbia designers, developers, whatever, is to implement the harder rubber so that these grooves are not bendable. I think this is very important. In fact, I would make them shorter too, not as long, with not as much aggression, just a little bit less aggression. I think it would be great. Also, I wanted to point out a little bit of these ridges here. I think I would like to see more aggression here as well. There is, they did implement the ridges, but I think it would be better if they had more. These ridges, they help whenever it comes to climbing stuff, climbing a rope, climbing a tree. This is the areas that you use whenever you climb, so would be helpful. One of the areas that you use whenever you climb. Okay, done with the outsole traction and stability. Let's move on to the criteria number 5, temperature. Now, I've tested them in Florida. It was about 95 degrees, hot outside. I was not overheating. They are very breathable, which is nice. Usually whenever you get waterproof boots, you sacrifice that breathability. But with these boots, no problems with breathability at all. Obviously, whenever it comes to colder temperatures, I would not recommend them just because they're not mid and full-size boots. So not a lot of insulation, not a lot of protection from colder temperatures. Keep that in mind. Criteria number 6, really quickly, is the sizing. These are definitely true to the size. Usually I get my boots in size 10 and my regular shoe size is 9.5. I get myself some extra space so that whenever you're going down the hill, your toe is not banging on the front of the toe box. Helps with the comfort level. There was a recommendation from one of my hiking friends who is doing it pretty much full time, who knows stuff. Good advice. Okay, so let's move on to the criteria number 7, balance of application. Probably one of the most important ones. So if this really was your last boot that you put on, if this really was your ultimate survival boot, would this be a good boot? I think it is a pretty good option for the price, $65 currently on Amazon. you are getting a lot. You're getting a waterproof boot that is light, that has fair amount of protection, not a lot, but it all comes down to the personal preference. Are you the type of person that prefers mobility, or are you the type of person that prefers protection? Because with a lot of protection, with reinforced toe, with a longer shaft, with some ankle protection, you are gaining weight, right? So keep that in mind. But here you have not a lot of protection, but you are getting that mobility. You can be faster in this boot and obviously not drag some extra weight on you. So it's a personal preference. I personally prefer mobility, although I would prefer a mid-size, of boot for my survival situations, but still I think it is a pretty good option, especially for people who live in a warmer climate. And the very last criterion here is the price. Like I've mentioned already, these are currently $65 on Amazon. Now there are 2 color variations available currently. There's this, which is more of a brown gray type of color, I guess, and then there is more of an olive type of color. So 2 color options in the link in the description below. It's $65. I think it's a pretty amazing price for what you're getting for a boot that is 330 reviews, almost 4 stars. I think it is a pretty good option. So let me know, guys, in the comments below what you think. Would you consider this boots for your ultimate survival situation, or would you look around some more? Like I said, this is a Columbia week, so all of the boots, all of the reviews are going to be Columbia boots. So make sure to subscribe if you are interested. If the video was useful, please hit the like button. It really definitely helps. If you have any requests, you can drop them in the comments below. I always take those seriously and put them on my special to-do list. Thank you very much, guys, for watching. I really appreciate your time. This was Columbia Granite Ridge waterproof boot, and you've been watching Firearms of America. I'll see you guys in the next video.